Have you ever seen an old map of Mexico? I mean a really old one, from before 1846. If you have, you might have noticed something startling. It was massive. We were talking about a country that stretched all the way up to what we now know as Oregon, encompassing all of modern-day California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, plus parts of several other U.S. states. So, what happened? How did Mexico lose nearly half of its territory in just 2 years? The story is a complex and often overlooked chapter of North American history, the Mexican-American War. To really understand this conflict, we need to rewind a bit, back in 1821. Mexico won its independence from Spain, inheriting a vast, sparsely populated northern territory. To encourage settlement, the Mexican government invited American colonists into Texas. This seemed like a good idea at the time, but it quickly led to cultural and political clashes. The American settlers, mostly Southerners, brought with them their own language, religion, and, crucially, the institution of slavery, which Mexico had abolished. Tensions boiled over, and in 1836, Texas declared its independence, becoming the Republic of Texas. For nearly a decade, it existed as a sovereign nation. But many Texans and Americans alike dreamed of annexation by the United States. This brings us to James K. Polk, elected U.S. President in 1844 on a platform of aggressive westward expansion, a philosophy known as manifest destiny. Polk had his eyes not just on Texas, but on the entire stretch of land to the Pacific Ocean. He saw California, with its valuable ports, as the ultimate prize. After the U.S. formally annexed Texas in 1845, a move Mexico viewed as an act of aggression. The stage was set for war. The final spark came from a border dispute. The U.S. claimed the Rio Grande as the border of Texas, while Mexico insisted it was the Nueces River, further north. Polk sent troops into this disputed territory, and when a skirmish inevitably broke out, he declared to Congress that Mexico had shed American blood upon the American soil. The war itself was a story of two very different military forces. The U.S. Army, though smaller, was better equipped, better trained, and had a superior officer corps, including future presidents and Civil War generals like Zachary Taylor and Ulysses S. Grant. The Mexican army was larger but plagued by internal political divisions, poor leadership, and outdated equipment. The U.S. launched a multi-pronged invasion. One force pushed west from Texas, another invaded northern Mexico, and a naval blockade squeezed the Mexican coast. General Winfield Scott led the decisive campaign, landing an army at Veracruz and marching 260 miles inland to capture Mexico City in September 1847. With its capital occupied, Mexico had no choice but to surrender. The war officially ended with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848. The terms were devastating for Mexico. It was forced to cede over 500 square miles of territory the Mexican cession in exchange for $15 million. This huge land transfer included the future states of California, Nevada, Utah, and more. A few years later, the Gadsden Purchase finalized the border we know today. The consequences were profound. For the United States, it was the realization of manifest destiny. A massive expansion that would fuel its rise as a continental power but also intensify the bitter knotty colonial debate over slavery, ultimately leading to the Civil War. For Mexico, it was a national trauma, a loss that shaped its relationship with its northern neighbor for generations. So the next time you look at a map of North America, remember the ghost of that older, larger Mexico. It's a powerful reminder of how borders are not permanent, how history is written by the victors, and how a short, 2-year war redrew the continent and set two nations on vastly different paths. It's a fascinating, complex, and crucial piece of our shared history. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the past, be sure to like and subscribe for more.